Now, how would you say that, is the city of Miami keeping you guys informed on what's going on, different testing, ways? Are they reporting back to you and telling you anything?
Thus far, no, we haven't gotten any reports back. And again, I don't know how many or what groups are being reported to. Again, this is a scenario where the state provides the permits, and I'm sure in those permits are the agencies they need to report to. It would be wonderful for all bodies and all groups concerned to be informed all the time, but that's not something that I would expect. But it's, we plan to ourselves in an outbound way. I'll be in a meeting with city officials from capital improvements in just a few days. A separate topic, but related topic. And I know this will come up, and I'll ask them about testing. And I don't imagine that in any way they would hold back any information. It's public information. And so, but they are not informing us of every step of the way, and I don't know if tests have been done at this point. It's my understanding they are and have been, but I don't know.
So you guys haven't been asking the questions?
We have not. I have not myself. Some of our other, what I call the Friends of Virginia Key. There are many other groups who monitor this even closer than we do, just more on a day-to-day basis. May have. We have a committee meeting tonight it's part of our Nature and Environment Committee. I'll talk to members there, and many of them, may have some of these reports.
So, worst case scenario, the soil and whatever comes out the rocks and sand is contaminated. Will they still put it on top of the landfill? In your opinion, because right now they're saying it has to be residential standards. But that's in order to make the field. But do you think they're still going to put it on? In
my opinion, no, not at all. Not at all. I do believe it comes back not meeting those standards. It won't go here. Again, there are other landfills in the county, and then other fills around the country, and I'm sure right around the state, that would take it. It's just different levels of contamination that's allowable for certain sites. As crazy as that might sound, but there are just different places and different treatments for it. But if it doesn't meet those standards, the concept is no, it won't go here. And I imagine that it wouldn't. If it didn't make those standards, I know there's a lot of people that would fight against that. And so I would imagine at the end of the day, none would be placed here.
As far as, because obviously the fill has to be trucked in. Would you say that there would be any sort of adverse effects to the Virginia Key as well as Key Biscayne sort of way of life? If there's all the trucks that are coming in and moving these 400,000 cubic yards of topsoil?
Well, the idea, is to move it at night. They're looking at these nighttime hours. There are always traffic issues to this island and the island of Virginia, of Key Biscayne. Just in that there's one way in, one way out, have to come through a toll booth. It's my understanding there would be literally thousands of truckloads back and forth every hour for many, many days, many weeks, potentially even many months to move that much material. So if it happened during busy hours, it would be terrible. There are events held here. There's the tennis tournament held down here. Traffic is a nightmare just when those things happen, let alone adding trucks to it. There were concerns about even the height of the spoil when it's dumped, and it comes out as a slush. It dries. If it's piled, it then dries more, and then there's the concept that it's blowing. So you have material just lost in the air, blowing throughout the island. If there are contaminants, then you're potentially talking about breathing that in, whether it's dumped at this historic property or stored a mile away. And in the same regard, it's the same distance from here to downtown and Brickell. Again, so it's, there's a lot to consider. Not just the historic beach, you have federal agencies working here, a high school in Mast Academy, potentially closer to it than we are, an amusement park in the Seaquarium, a college, university, all of these things so close. I would imagine great care will be taken in this. And if it doesn't meet the standards, that all of those parties that may have in some degree maybe not been as vocal as others would chime in and say, there's no way this can happen.
Now, do you think that people realize right now what's going on? Do you think people are educated in what's going on, or they just don't even really know?
I'd say most don't even really know. There were tens of thousands of people that drive past the port tunneling, activity and probably have no idea what it is. As much as you advertise something, put things in the news, in the newspaper, talk about it, hold meetings, there are hundreds of thousands of people who don't see any of that, and may drive past it, come in contact with it all the time. Or you're living in a condo on Brickell, 40 floors up, and you say, well, that's a mile and a half away. I'm not worrying about that. I do know that they're concerned about the fact that they have Parajungle Island and a children's museum 200-300 yards away. And that faces the same issues of what blows in the air. So I know a lot of eyes are on it.
So do you think if it doesn't work out and the soil is contaminated after all, then that's when the attention's going to come in and people start caring, noticing?
Well, I think more people will notice if that comes out of the testing, because then you'll have a whole chorus of organizations and people that are saying where it can't go. And it is a project that I do believe is real important, right along with trying to expand the port to be competitive in the future. I mean, I've looked at a lot of those plans many years ago on the Panama Canal, and it's amazing the economic impact that would happen if South Florida's port didn't take steps. And I think the Port of Miami will always, have a certain place in worldwide import-export. But when you look at moving to the next level, it would be a matter of being left behind in one way. So, it's one of those things they've got to figure it out. Whether or not the spoil can be dumped here is just one of the steps. If it can't, they'll need to work on where it can go and do that.